Well, hello everyone. We are here for my live session where you can ask me questions, ask your astrologer. And before anyone comes on board, I thought I might just give a little recap of where we are in the world. Astrologically, there are some very powerful conjunctions going on in the sky, and probably the most difficult one, I have to say, is the Mars conjunct Rahu. And they are in Aquarius. Of course, you know I'm a Vedic sidereal astrologer, use the true placements of the planets in the sky. And one thing I want you to know is that I feel there is more to come with that conjunction concerning violence all around the world. And there will be a lot that is still here to come. But the good news is things are going to get better quickly, especially by April and May. April, we have one more hit of difficulty, and then we will be moving on to much better, sort of like bluer skies, if I could say. All right. Um, Now, someone's asking about when a health-related loss occurs during a Pluto conjunct Saturn aspect, plus Mercury retrograde, what was lost ever be recovered? No, I believe it will be recovered. There is a saying that I say, when something's lost when Mercury's retrograde, you usually find it. Now, not always, but most of the time. And Pluto conjuncting Saturn is a very long-standing aspect, and it's very generational. So it means everyone born the same year as you has it. So it can't be, you need some specific other faster moving aspects for an event to happen. When you have the long-standing aspects that last on and off for a year, you need triggers of faster moving planets to trigger an event within that time frame. So that's how I do my predictions. Thanks for doing the video with Craig Parker Hamilton. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Does the moon have the ability to mimic? I thought that did for Mercury. No, the moon is more about mimicking. As a matter of fact, people that have a really, really strong moon, especially in the fourth house or in a really strong sign, people have great, great memories. And a lot of them can be actors because they can memorize lines. But most of all, they can mimic and they can be performers in that way, yes. Is Mars Rahu period of 11 months very difficult times in life? You must mean the dashas. Not always. It's always depending on how they're placed in your chart. If they're in difficult houses, if they make a difficult aspect, maybe them being 8-6 or 6-8 from one another, yes. But otherwise, it really depends. It could, if they're in good houses, it could produce a lot of action and movement. So it's never just flat out two malefics create bad things. Depends on how they're placed in your birth chart. Would I do your Vedic chart? Go to my website. I have consultations, galacticcenter.org. I believe my regular readings are booked up till towards the end of June or July. And I have urgent readings, but they cost a lot more. So you probably want the regular reading. Okay. How do you predict new job timing? You know, the 10th house is about career and transit of Mars going there, transits to the 10th house. Jupiter transiting the 10th house would bring opportunities and jobs. So please do a read on Marco Rubio. I don't have his birth time. That's so frustrating because I can make a prediction based on his moon, but If he has a difficult ascendant, then I could be off, but I will try. Okay. All right. Do I use the Brigu Bindu point? No, I don't. There's enough that I use that I don't need that. So your natal moon is 20 degrees of Gemini, and I'm an Aquarius ascendant. Is Jupiter still benefic? Well, if it's 20 degrees of Gemini, you have got transiting Jupiter stationing on it right now. You're very, very lucky. Something this month of March will bring you luck and fortune. Okay. All right. Does K2 in the fifth house cause struggles in dating and heartbreaks? Not always. K2 in the fifth house means you have a very unique talent. You can be very insightful and give spiritual advice to people, but all at the same time, you could be a little bit paranoid because, you know, the nodes represent extremes. And the fifth house, don't forget, is the mind. So calm yourself and use your talents. Okay. When will Jupiter go retrograde? It's about to go direct on the 11th of this month. What does it mean when Jupiter returns to my natal at 6 degrees? A Jupiter return happens every 12 years. So Jupiter return, many times it has a lot to do with children. If you're looking to have children, or if you have children, there can be some good things with them. But Jupiter's return is good. Whatever house it's in, it will accentuate all the properties of that house. Let's see. Venus in the 12th in Taurus, that brings money. Venus is the only planet that prospers in the 12th house, and it signifies wealth, especially in Taurus. Okay. Let's see. Moon, Sun, Mercury. The moon and the sun are never retrograde. I don't know what you're talking about there. Okay. All right. Is K2 in the first house in Sag a good thing? You know, everything has a good and a bad, whatever you want to see in it. But K2 in the first house means you're very unique, very unusual, usually very spiritual. But you want to get away from the world. You don't feel like you fit in at times. K2 is sort of like that outcast, and you just always feel different. And sometimes that's a good thing because you're very unique and different. But your life does have a certain amount of destiny attached to it. And yes, sometimes it can deal with the loss. So all of us go through losses at some time, though. Will Jupiter transiting Rahu at 21 degrees? Yes, it will, because Jupiter Rahu is expansion. And that is one of the tools and techniques I use in my book concerning money and astrology. Let's see. Is China going into this war? No, China's not going to go into this war right now. I'm more concerned about China in in a few months, okay, or next year especially. But I think things are going to calm down pretty soon with this war, but I'm concerned about next November, to be honest with you. Okay. I have Venus 22 degrees of Sag. That's great because Jupiter is opposing it and something good should happen. Sun in Leo in the first house, Moon in Pisces, K2 in the 12th house, Rahu 6 for career. Boy, that's a long one. Please explain Sati Sati. I can do that. When Saturn comes to the moon, Sati Sati is actually a 7.5-year cycle. It's when Saturn comes to the sign before, the sign of, and the sign after the moon. For me, it was one of the most difficult times in my life. It's like you have karma, you have heavy things happen, you know, and There's great lessons in it. It's not a lot of fun. A lot of people have problems in their marriages or relationships with Sati Sati. And some people just really improve their life and get better. Of course, that's going to deal with the whole tone of their chart. Everything in life's been hard for me. What aspects? There are so many things. You can't boil it down to one or a few things. It's a whole chart that predicts it. And when you're looking at Vedic astrology, you even have divisional charts. This is a science. It's not something you can just take haphazardly and one or two things mean something. It's the whole chart, the whole read on life. Life is complicated, so are our charts. Let's see. Well, thank you. Someone said they had a reading with me 10 years ago. That's wonderful. And you enjoyed it. You sent me a book. You have to remind me what that book was if it's been 10 years ago. All right. What's Venus conjunct K2 in the second house and Rahu in the eighth mean? Whenever K2 is with a benefic, it is usually really good. And in the second house, I'm going to say that wealth will come to you at some point. Rahu in the eighth house can mean money can come through other people and in inheritances as well. Okay. Is Trump getting a third term? I don't personally, I don't think so, but I'll have to see. No, next November will be very turbulent for Trump and the United States. I'm going to say August through the end of the year. This is what I'm more concerned about because during that time, around mid-November, we're going to have Mars conjunct K2 with Jupiter. Jupiter can sometimes expand and make things bigger. So there's going to be a time of peace between May through July, and then another time of extremes. I think it's going to be worse than now. Okay, I hope I'm wrong though. I'll have to study it some more. When when the sixth house ruler is in the fifth house, that guarantee children will be ill? No, not at all. It can actually mean that there can be some struggles with children, but it doesn't mean illness. The sixth house, by the way, is an upachaya house. What that means is over time, things improve and get better. And the sixth house can be struggles, but it means there's the opportunity to overcome these struggles. Will the UA be all right? I have to look at that chart. UAE will be all right. I'll look at that. December 2nd, 19. I'll look that up. 71. Okay. K2 in the 12th in Cancer and Rahu in the 6th. Any advice for career in 2026? Well, that means, you have a Leo ascendant. And that would mean, well, Uranus is in your 10th house. And that means many changes in your work and with your career this year. You may even change the type of work that you do this year. It's all changing, and I'm sure last year was all about that. Okay. Will there be any attacks on the U.S. soil this month? It's very possible. As I keep thinking, when Mars conjuncts Rahu in Shatabishak in the sign of Aquarius, that can deal with airplanes. It can deal with things dealing with aviation. So that's where I think the attacks could happen. Maybe not exactly on the soil, but concerning the United States. Usually, how is the Mahadasha of Venus? You guys, I've got to see the whole chart, but if it's retrograde in Taurus in the 11th house deals with, as you probably know, great gains. It can bring great gains, especially if it's in Taurus. But most of all, those gains may particularly come from people you know, such as friends and influential people. Your connections are going to help you the most. All right, so if you have Sun, Jupiter, Mars, Saturn all together in Aries, you're a go-getter. Yes, you're going to find that everything you do is really fast, in a hurry, and yeah, that's a successful combination. And whatever house it's in is going to be a focus throughout your life, because that is a lot of planets there. If your Jupiter is retrograde, guys, retrograde planets aren't the worst thing. No, it doesn't, in Vedic astrology, retrogrades make a planet more powerful. It's more of a focus, but it does mean unfinished business from the past. So wherever Jupiter is will be a focus. And in Leo, that is a great, great placement for Jupiter. It means leadership. That you're a leader, that you're going to do a lot to help a lot of people in terms of your power and leadership, but there's something you have to finish up from a past life. All right, so your most busy houses are 6, 8, and 12, the Dasthanas. So this can mean 12 and 8 can deal with the past, a lot of past, dealing with past and letting go of issues from the past. But I've seen people like this go into medicine and healing, because the 6th and the 12th deal with healing, and the 8th house deals with research. So scientific research and or healing. So you are towards Sati. Does it get better towards the end? Yes, it does get better towards the end. The sign before, I really look at the sign when it's with the moon. That's the most intense. The others are not near as eventful. And it will all depend on what house it's in. Okay. Yes, the moon in opposite signs considered good or bad in synastry. It's the best because opposites attract. Okay. What does it mean when you have Saturn, Ketu, and Pluto in Libra? Well, Saturn in Libra is one of the best. And in the second house, well, it is great. Let me just say, you know how to organize and make money, and especially with Pluto, you will be in control, all right? What about the moon being in the 8th house in Gemini? That describes that your mother's had a very difficult life and that she can be very intelligent. She's always learning, always processing, and it also makes you very intuitive, psychic, as well as a researcher. Can you explain the meaning of a yod? A yod is where you have two planets that form a quincunx, which is a 6-8 relationship to one planet. So 2 6-8 relationships, that one planet is the focal point. And yes, it's not called the finger of God for nothing, because a 6-8 relationship to any planet represents the energy of the 6th house and the energy of the 8th house. So they are difficult houses. The 6th house can deal with enemies and accidents. The 8th house is endings or death. And it does mean a very destiny type situation of something that will happen. I always look at the times when planets form yods in the skies, and those are always crucial times for change in the world. Okay, Venus, Mercury in combination in the 1st house in Pisces. Well, you've got Venus exalted and Mercury debilitated. And with that, usually when a debilitated planet's with an exalted planet, it uplifts the debilitation. Venus in Pisces in the first house is very artistic and very creative. And Mercury brings that along even more. It's a good aspect. Okay. Okay, Sati in Pisces. Does it cause isolation? Not necessarily isolation, but it does cause a heaviness. You feel depressed, you feel heavy, you feel a sense of responsibility. And most of all, it does have its effects on relationships. Okay. When Ketu Mahadash is heavy, Ketu in the 8th in Virgo with no planets conjunct it. Yeah, this can really open up your ability to be more psychic, more intuitive. You can find that money, maybe if you have any settlements or money, that things may not go your way, you got to let go of it. But K2 is about letting things go. But in the 8th house, it can really open up your deep intuition. Listen to your gut feeling because it will always be the right thing to do. You have 2 yods in your birth chart. Look at that planet that we call the apex, that one planet that receives the 6-8. When planets go over that by transit, it can cause effects. And during those times, you must be more careful. But a yod also means it signifies that there's a certain destiny that your life will fulfill. That can be very, very meaningful even to the world. Let's see. Scorpio sun, Leo ascendant, Gemini moon. Oh my God, I can't do all that. Oh, I need to see it. I need to see the chart with that many variables, but I just got to say Gemini moon with Rahu in the 8th house, very intense. Rahu with the moon, boy, I can tell you one thing, your mother was extreme because that's a moon Rahu and had a very difficult life. Those effects will affect you. Okay. Okay, so gosh, if planets are in their own sign, in their own house, are all the planets in that house protected? Not necessarily, depends on the house. And if it's like if it's the 8th house, that could have a lot to do with major gains and losses, reversal of events. So it totally depends on the house that they're in, because really in my teachings with my school, I teach everyone to first learn the meanings of all the houses because they really do dictate everything that the planets do. You know, I don't know why they say 6 out of 9 planets exalted in your chart. That's not really possible. Um, and we're not talking about Rahu and Ketu. Maybe if you're talking about Rahu and Ketu, those could count, yes, because you're including those. But that would mean the sun and the moon are exalted, and that means the only time you could be born is sometime in the end of March or April, because that means the sun is exalted and the moon would be exalted during that time. And there's very few times when both Jupiter and Saturn are exalted. So you tried to find out what time you were born. I tried to get a birth certificate with it on it, and they sent me one without the time. You've got to ask for the original with the time. They didn't send you the right one. They send you that one without the time when you ask for it for passports and things like that. So I don't know, call the Bureau of Vital Statistics and ask them if they can do that, and not just send you the one that's easy for them to send. Okay. Okay, so if you have a planet, as you said, Mercury is debilitated, And I forgot if you said it was retrograde, but it is your ascendant lord, and it's Virgotama. When a planet is in the same sign in the D9 chart that it is in the in the birth chart, the Rashi, and it's Virgotama, even if it's debilitated, it still strengthens and makes that planet stronger. Okay. A Mars-Saturn conjunction in Aries. Boy, that's an interesting one, because Mars is in its own sign and Saturn is debilitated. Mars-Saturn is very interesting together because it means you are so tenacious, you will never give up. And Mars is more powerful than Saturn. So, you know, you have a real strong drive, ambition. Remember, Mars is the planet of intelligence, and it also rules real estate. Saturn rules land, so depending on what house it's in, that's really good combination for real estate and land. But it actually means success, because that Mars is going to override a lot of the Saturn's debilitation. And because you never give up, one of those times you're going to luck out and make it. And it really does indicate success. One of the people that I use in my books that has a Saturn-Mars conjunction, it's not in Aries. I think it was in Capricorn, which makes Mars exalted, and Saturn in its own sign, but I'm not 100% sure of the sign. But it's Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton, when she came into the world, she was dirt poor. I think there was 11 kids and no running water, electricity, and now she's one of the richest women in the world. Saturn-Mars conjunction. Okay. Okay, so you're saying you went through the worst month of your life and you're Scorpio. I can't tell you from just that. Sorry, I wish I could, but I need more information than that. And Mojave, thank you. That is very sweet and kind. I appreciate the nice things that you guys say. Makes my job worth it. I got to say that. I want to do more of these when people appreciate the work I do. Sun Rahu. That slid by me. All I saw was Sun Rahu. Sun Rahu is really powerful. The sun is the ego, though. Rahu expands it, so it can be an expanded ego, but it does bring success. That's what I'll say. Your 10th house is Leo, and you're born with Ketu in Leo. So that means in Maga's nakshatra, Ketu's in the 10th house. You have a hard time finding purpose and meaning in your career, but you must be in a leadership position with Leo being your 10th house and Ketu there. Yes, I'm teaching every week at my university, and I'm telling you guys, you can join anytime. You're going to find that I'm constantly teaching live classes. And another thing, I am redoing all the videos for UVA. So there are 40 of them, live, crisp videos with new information that you're not going to get anywhere, because in my 45 years of practice, I have discovered a lot of things that you will not find in any astrology books. Okay. Wow, you've got, how could you have the ascendant all in the 5th house? All right, so I don't get that one, but I'm sure you meant something else. Venus, Mercury, Rahu in the 8th house in Aquarius. My goodness, you are deep, you're profound, you can do amazing research, constantly researching and analyzing things, especially in Aquarius, and especially since Rahu and Mars are there right now. You know, take it easy on yourself with those planets transiting your 8th house. So you're going to come across some details and truths that no one knows. All right. You know, you say you can't afford my classes. Yes, you can. You can pay payments. And if you go to any other university, it's a lot more. Take it in stride of the value that it provides for you. Astrology, in my opinion, and I believe this wholeheartedly by what it's done for me, is the most valuable science of all sciences in the world. Okay. Can Sati Sati be positive when the moon is in the 5th house in Gemini? Yeah, but you know, the 5th house is the house that can deal with good karma, good things. If you have children, though, watch out. So they may be needing a lot more attention. If you don't have children, sometimes Saturn there on the moon can kind of block your creative pursuits. So you have to work a little harder at it. Thank you, the Galactic Planner. Wait till you see what the Galactic Planner is going to develop into in the next month. And if you already have the planner, don't worry. It's just going to turn over into you're going to get all the new things automatically that we're going to start providing in the planner. Okay. Thank you, Shani. I appreciate your contribution there. Okay, so you say you can't take my classes because you have a lot to learn. My school starts from the very beginning. That is why you should take the school, because it takes people, there's semester 1 that takes it from the very beginning. And I prefer that people know nothing when they come to my school, because otherwise they don't have to relearn all the things that they have already learned. Okay. Saturn, Venus in the 1st. Saturn with Venus, that means they're aspecting the 7th too. Sometimes people with the Saturn Venus can be lonely and need relationships because Venus is love. Saturn can make you feel isolated at times when it comes to the area of love and romance. Okay. Yes, you want to know about a book that can help you make money in the stock market? It's this one, Finding Luck and Money. I have a whole chapter on the stock market and how to use the stock market. I have this book out because I'm redoing the videos for the university, and I have a whole chapter, not a whole chapter, a whole class on how to find money in a chart. And I think I have something like 6 or 7 lottery winners. And what is common? What is the common denominator in all of those charts where people come into money suddenly, unexpectedly? And that can also mean through business and work too. It's not just through lotteries, but of course, when people win a lottery, something big should be in their charts, and it is. Okay. By the way, all my books, I have 13 books out, and I think 14 actually, and they are all on Amazon. You can go find them. Okay. So Rosie Marie, I guess you don't need my classes because you already have it all by studying on your own. Okay. You know what? You could get some of my books, but really, I'm going to tell you guys this right now. Vedic astrology is too hard to learn on your own. I went through schools, I went through education, and trust me, I paid double what my university cost. And yes, I have. And then I taught for different schools for many years before I formed my own university. So it is very complicated, and you need a support team that UVA does provide. Live tutors, chat groups, live classes every week, plus the recorded required videos that you take to, and you take tests afterwards. So there's 40 recorded videos, plus then there are live classes every week that I do. And as well as you get a live tutor, and we have talk groups, everything to support people to learn Vedic astrology. It's too hard to do by yourself. Okay. All right. So let's see. Oh gosh, I was trying to see what they said about the planner. Okay. Pluto 19 degrees in your 12th house in Libra. What does that mean? Well, Pluto in the 12th house means be careful. You know, the 12th house can deal with things from the past, and Pluto can deal with deep, dark stuff. You got to let go of things from the past, because when you do let go of any kind of resentments or things you hold from the past, your whole future opens up. When you're stuck in the past, you can't have a future. Okay, so I don't know if that's exactly it. Of course, other things need to be there. Monthly planner. What is not having anything in the third or the sixth mean? Well, you know, like I always say, when you got to look at the rulers of the third and the ruler of the sixth, wherever they go, and the planets that they form aspects with will tell you everything about the third and the sixth house. And the third house can deal with willpower, of course, siblings, but most of all, learning, education. The sixth house deals with your work and your health. Okay, let's see. All right, so Pluto in the 12th. Yeah, let go of the past. It's not easy to do. We all have issues. But the outer planets are more generational, and they are more of the collective, because remember, you have an entire generation that has those outer planets in the same signs. But in the houses, they're very specific, yes. Okay, so Mars, Neptune in the sixth house in Scorpio. I'm going to tell you something right now. Anyone that has Neptune in the sixth house, always make sure you get a second doctor's opinion when you get sick. We all get sick sometimes, but always make sure of that, because Neptune means they can't find what's wrong. And Neptune in the sixth house can mean that you have really weird stuff like allergies and things that doctors can't pinpoint. So always get a second opinion. And if it's in Scorpio, you might find that you have issues around the reproductive system, things of that nature. Scorpio rules the reproductive system. So always get a second opinion when you go to the doctor. Okay. Or they just may not find anything wrong with you, but there is. Okay, so yeah, you guys, wait till you see what the university is about to provide. You guys, check it out. Check out some of the people. Go to universityofvedicastrology.com and see what some of my students and graduates are saying about it. I have been doing UVA for 10 years. This is a proven system. And I have over 80 graduates that are now my tutors and work with me. So, okay, so let's see. K2 and Saturn retrograde. K2 is always retrograde, by the way, in the second house of Leo. So that there's issues about family, you know, family issues. People forget, they think of the second house always as money, but it's family, it's early childhood experiences. And it was quite difficult growing up as a kid with that in your second house. Very difficult. So what needs to change is your perception about yourself. Because chances are when you were growing up as a kid, people would put you down or make you not make you feel valuable in terms of what you had to say, but you got to realize your importance and your power. Overcoming the obstacles from the past is very difficult, but once you do, then the sky opens and you're able to be successful in life. But you got to overcome the shortcomings that were directed towards you as a child growing up. Okay. All right. So is sari sati equally bad for everyone? No, not at all. I have seen some people where it's actually not bad at all, where they became stronger, more powerful, they overcame the obstacles, and it made them more successful. But for the most part, most people have a difficult time. I know I did when I was in sati sati. Okay. Um, so Gemini moon in the second bhava, what is that? What's up with them? Okay, so a Gemini moon loves to communicate, loves to talk. Second house, it can deal with our speech. So can be somebody who talks a lot, who really has a lot to say. And they love to learn. They're always talking, but money can fluctuate when the moon's in the second house, many ups and downs. Okay. What's happening this Friday with Rahu and Mars, or Mara, I think you meant Mars. Yes, something big is going to happen again this coming weekend. So be prepared, guys. Lay low, lay low. I suspect there's going to be some violence. Okay, your daughter has Rahu, Mars, and Uranus in the exact degree. Oh my God, 24 degrees of Aries in Bharani in the fourth house. So you are a powerful mother. That's what that means for sure. And it's like in Aries and Bharani, it's like you are an initiator, you're a pioneer, you're everything you do, but you guys probably have moved around a lot. Uranus, Mars, you know, action, movement. And by the way, she will probably come into good real estate due to your efforts. That's just one of the things. I didn't get all of it. It ran by me too quick. Why do you end up with noisy neighbors? You know, the third house is said to be neighbors. Look at that. Okay. All right. So Jupiter and Scorpio in the fourth house, please advise. Well, you know, you could have a good connection with the mother. Depends on what sign it's in, really, and what planets are aspecting the fourth house. But overall, that could be good real estate and a good connection with the mothers. But other things could vary, make that vary. The signs associated with the planets. Cancer, and you mean Mars and Cancer. I do that in my university, lots of it. So if you're in my university, yeah, that is definitely a class. Okay. What does a Leo stellium mean with Mercury, Sun, Jupiter in it? Mercury, Sun, Jupiter. I just learned about this. Well, Leo, a Leo sun, Mercury, and Jupiter. Jupiter in Leo is really powerful. You are a leader. You can command attention. And I'll tell you, with those many planets in Leo, particularly the sun, Jupiter, you're very optimistic about the future. You always expect good things to happen. And because of that attitude, they usually do. But I believe you should probably have your own business because you are the boss. You don't take orders kindly from others. So that's a good thing for you to be in leadership positions. Yes. Okay, so Sun in Aries exalted or Sun in Maga. You know, they're both pretty, Sun in its own sign. Maga is the king, it is the leader. They're both really powerful. A Sun in Aries would be more about thinking about their position and power, whereas Leo wants to lead. And yes, they are in power because they are the leaders. Is sari sati, I just got, is sari sati that bad when you have a Libra ascendant because Saturn's a yoga karaka? Really depends. I can't say just because it's a yoga karaka it's going to produce good things. It can be very difficult. As a matter of fact, no, he's not a Taurus ascendant, he's Virgo. Never mind. Okay, I was going to talk about Bill Clinton. When he went through sati sati, when Saturn came to his moon in the eighth house, of course, the scandal of Monica Lewinsky first broke. So that's an idea. And of course, what's the eighth house? Scandals. Okay. What if you have Mars in a Salacia, which means in the second house? That's all I got. Sorry. So Mars in the second house, debilitated in a Salacia. Um, Sometimes you can be very impulsive with spending with Mars in the second house. And being in Cancer, you can have buyer's remorse many times. So take it easy with spending. But I got to tell you, the second house deals with early childhood experiences. And yes, there was great difficulty and a split in the family. Here's what I have discovered. Anytime Mars is in the sign of Cancer, usually people have a split up in their family because Mars is the planet of war and Cancer is the sign of family. The second house is family. So yes, there's great difficulties with the family and split ups. And usually what I'm talking about is your family of origin, which you're born into growing up. Okay. Let's see. So in Aries, okay, you might have mentioned this before. Is YouTube videos that we're learning from, or is it a class we watch from a teacher teachings? No, I have a whole university, and that I put my whole heart and soul into, and it's called universityofvedicastrology.com. That's where I really do my teachings. YouTube is just, I can't go that deep in most of the YouTube videos because the mass public does not understand Vedic astrology. You guys have to understand, I have to make it kind of surface so that the mass public will understand what I'm talking about. And for the most part, people don't care to learn astrology. They just want the answer. But those of you that are interested in learning, I say check out my university. It is the best one going out there. I know because I've put my whole heart and soul into it, and I have a team of people and tutors that we work together, and it is a community for learning. Yes. Okay. Okay, so about, about the galactic plan or the section on house rulerships, I was thinking about taking that out because the house rulers are always the same. And somehow it repeats information because of that. So you can actually make it where you don't have to, where that doesn't come up. I forgot how you can disable that. But for those that want to learn Vedic astrology, really it talks about the house rulers, but the house rulers never change because that's static in your chart, but it always will represent and bring about things in accordance to what houses planets rule when they are being transited. So it helps with the prediction, fine tune it, what it's truly about, if that makes sense. What does it mean when my child Venus and my Neptune are in the same signs, 15 degrees of Sagittarius? So I don't know, child Venus, what does this mean? So Venus and Neptune are in the same sign, 15 degrees in Sagittarius. Be careful of in relationships because you can be deceived very easily with Neptune Venus. You tend to look at partners and love relationships, as they say, with rose-colored glasses. You tend to put them on a pedestal and think they are so great and you adore them. And then later you find out, what was I thinking? I was totally deluded by this person. So that's not to say that you won't have a romantic, good relationship, because of course you can. But you need to be careful in the area of love, of being deceived or overestimating somebody's value in relationships. Okay. Okay, Sandra's talking about a synastry chart. Okay, so yeah, maybe that's it with the child. So I forgot what the combination was in the fifth house now. Was it, uh, have it come, when it comes back around, I'll get it. So you've got Guru, Chandal, Yoga. So in the first house in Leo. So that would be Jupiter conjunct the moon in the first house. Well, Jupiter moon is one of the best conjunctions you can have. It represents spirituality, optimism, and in the first house is very good. Okay, let's see. Well, this is interesting. You talk about Sirius. Right now, transiting Jupiter is on the fixed star Sirius, and Sirius is the dog star. And many times it can deal with people that feel like they don't get what they deserve. They've been, and that can deal with in a birth chart. You feel like you've been underestimated and you've been passed up many times and you don't feel like you get what you deserve. That's what I'll say. India's future in the next 10 years, when Jupiter goes into Cancer, which will be June 1st through October 31st this year, it will be crossing over many of India's planets. India will have a great rise soon. Okay. All right. Sun, Venus, and Mercury in Leo in the first house. So Leo risings are always all powerful. The Sun in Leo, you're very focused, you understand who you are, and you understand your capabilities. This will help you go far in this world. Okay. What is it in April? April, yes, has I believe it's mid-April, around, I need to look that up, that Saturn and Mars will conjunct in April. Let me find that exact day, looking in my ephemeris. So it will be, okay, Saturn conjunct Mars. Wait a second, I'm looking in the wrong year. 2026. Okay. 2026. Saturn will conjunct Mars at 13 degrees around April 19th and 20th. And that is a very difficult aspect. So that is another continuation in the fight and the war. Something could happen that is very detrimental. Now, I'm going to say by May, definitely, once we have the new moon in Aries and Mars goes into Aries, that we will have such a better time. And that will be, darn it, I keep pulling up the wrong. I know it's around the first week of May. Everything will be over with war, fighting. Things will be better. Okay. Okay, so Mars in the 8th house in Scorpio. Boy, that's a tough one, but you are incredibly resourceful and research. You've got a scientific mind. I'll tell you, two people that have Mars in the 8th house, but it's conjunct Rahu and it is exalted. Elon Musk and Albert Einstein. That's to give you an idea of how powerful Mars in the 8th house with science and research. Okay. So American Everyday, yeah, I mean, if you need a one-on-one reading with me, great. But I will say I'm booked up through June. So yeah. Okay. Jupiter, Saturn in the 12th in Sagittarius. Mars in Pisces, 3rd house. Mars in the 3rd house, by the way, is incredible. You're tenacious, you have strong willpower, but that Saturn and Jupiter in the 12th, can hold you back sometimes from the past. Okay, so natal Mercury at 20 degrees of Gemini. Wow. And if your natal Mercury, I didn't get all the other thing, is 20 degrees of Gemini, transiting Jupiter's on it right now. And it's stationed. I bet you're going on a trip. I bet there's something about traveling because both Jupiter and Mercury are karakas for travels. And once you come back around, I'll see what the other part of the question was. Okay, so I answered that one. Do I have any jobs opening at the university? Yes, but you got to graduate from the university. That's my tutors. So I don't just take people in that haven't taken my courses, that understand what I teach. Okay, does the sun entering Aries considered to be a new year in Vedic astrology? Actually, the new year chart that we look at is when there's the new moon in Pisces. So that's supposed to give the predictions for the year. And it's probably because sidereally, the beginning reference point of the zodiac is 6 degrees of Pisces, and it's constantly moving 1 degree every 72 years backwards in the zodiac. This is all due to precession. Okay, so moon in Pisces in the 8th house, Saturn in the 10th house. So moon in Pisces in the 8th house, mother's had a rough life, but you're very intuitive. Saturn in the 10th house. Saturn in the 10th house is good for work. Remember, Saturn rules Capricorn, the 10th sign, and it means, hard work and success. And you could have your own business or work for sometimes the government, but it's very good for a career. What time are the classes? Because you work during the week. I have them 2 different times. And remember, the live classes are just an add-on. There's a whole self-paced classes that you have to do that are all self-paced. The live classes are simply to help you understand what you're learning. But I have different time frames, Central Time, because half my students are in Asia and in Australia, Philippines, and the other half are in Europe and, of course, in the United States. So I do some at 9:30 a.m. Central Time, and then I also do some at 5:30 p.m. Central Time. So it depends on where you are relative to that. Okay. 5th house, Sun, Moon, Jupiter, Pluto. The 5th house, in terms of writing, did you know that the 5th house is actually the house of authorship, whereas the 3rd house is the house of writers and ability to write? But the 5th house, being the 3rd from the 3rd, actually deals with authorship and getting books out. So that's why you are into writing. Stationary Jupiter on natal Jupiter, that's going to be opportunities will come right now, because if you're right now. So yes, be open and get ready. Moon at 0 degrees of Aquarius in the 3rd house. Well, I forgot to tell that other person, but the moon in the 3rd house, always learning, always into social media, into anything to do with communications, even at 0 degrees. And I can't remember what sign, but 0 degrees, if it's cardinal, means it's for Gautama in the Navamsha, very strong. But going back to Mars being in the 3rd house, I forgot to tell that person, people with Mars in the 3rd house will have a competitive sibling and problems with siblings. Okay. Okay. Sun, Neptune, and Uranus in the 7th house. What's a disaster going to happen here? All right, be careful in relationships, because Neptune can mean that you can have deceptive partners. I'll say that right now. Okay. Um, Retrograde Venus in Capricorn. You know what I find with retrograde Venus? People with the retrograde Venus usually feel that their love isn't as satisfying as they would like. So it means that in a past life, you have conditions within relationships that you're here to resolve. And once they're resolved, then things will be great with relationships, but there's still an issue to work on. Okay? What is your view on the negatives of the 11th house? Well, the 11th house deals with friends, groups, and humanity. And one thing I always stress to my students, but most don't get it at first, is the 11th house will magnify things and expand things, and it's great gains, it is. But malefics there can deal with problems with the eldest sibling, as well as friends or groups. But the ruler of the 11th house is usually a very difficult planet for that chart. But planets in the 11th house usually prosper and deal with great gains. Now, I'll tell you something that you may not know about the 11th house. It is the 8th house from the 4th. And I have found that it deals with the death of the mother, and or when there's malefic planets in the 11th house, it can mean that the mother has some kind of mental problems, possible illness, if there's major malefics in the 11th house. And it definitely, what it deals with is the demise of the mother, and or it deals with the mother's psychology. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Uh, Combust Venus under 1 degree in the 11th in Gemini. Yeah, you got to be careful. Of Venus in combustion means that there's some difficulty in relationships, and that there was probably a very early relationship that didn't work out, and you have got to yeah, here it didn't work out, an early relationship, and it somehow will taint the way you feel about other relationships. So a combust Venus deals with difficulties in relationships. Okay, so time is up, guys, but here is what I want you to know about the next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, when we meet, 10 a.m., I want you to know that I'm going to bring on Finbar Ross, and we are going to be talking about our trip to Ireland. So any of you that are planning to come to Ireland with us, check it out. It's on my website if you don't know about it. Under events, we're going to have a 10-day tour through the beautiful country of Ireland, while Shri Kalaram, Shri as I affectionately call Shri and I are going to be teaching the entire time. Every day we're going to have a 2-hour class, 10 days of this, while we're touring the countryside of Ireland. And Finbar Ross is our tour guide, and he's going to be talking about and answering any questions you guys may have about this trip. Another thing that I do want you to know, if you live close to Ireland or you're in Ireland, I'm going to have a meet and greet on the 21st of June at our hotel in Dublin. So I will give you all the details of, and that of course is free. Come meet me, and I will sign books or give out books on that day. So yeah, I'll be giving you all the detailed information, what hotel, what time to be there. And Finbar Ross next week, remember, it is St. Patrick's Day. we plan to be together. I should have saved this outfit for next week, right? But anyway, we're going to be answering any questions you may have about our trip to Ireland. So I will see you next week, same time with Finbar Ross, to answer questions about Ireland. I look forward to it. So thank you guys for being here.